You've heard it said, health is wealth, so enrich your life with the Healthy Home Hour, brought to you by the Healthy Home Market, every Sunday, 9 to 10 a.m. Know what's new and classic for health and wellness. Meet the local and national experts. Live God's plan to thrive, not just survive. I'm your host, Holly Adams, and welcome to the Healthy Home Hour. Happy Sunday from uptown in the Queen City on our streets right here at Streets 1033 Studios. Thanks for being here this Healthy Home Hour, where today we're going right to the heart of healing, meaning what is at the root of most health problems. Lots of savvy professionals say it's all about inflammation, that your body's on fire with pain, dementia, and disorders of all kinds, that they really start when that fire or inflammation gets rolling. And how can you stop it? Well, joining us to help us fight the fire and win is Terry Lemerond of EuroPharma, a top-of-the-line company available at all Healthy Home Markets in and around Charlotte, and also in Davidson off 77 at Exit 30. And Terry Lemerond has been a leader in the health food world for a long time and is founder of EuroPharma and a cream of the crop supplement line called Terry Naturally. So I am so excited to have Terry here today, and we've got a lot to cover on inflammation, stopping pain, and just about really any disease process seems to have its origin in inflammation. So don't go anywhere. Stay with us. Get the info you need. We all need this Healthy Home Hour. But first, what's up at this week, right now, going on at the Community Wellness Center, located right behind the Plaza Midwood store, the Plaza Midwood Healthy Home Market at 1330 Central Avenue. Tomorrow night, Monday, there is a very cool class on how being a genius in the garden, or all about permaculture, can be yours. From 6:30 to 9, learn how to create the best garden design for less, in fact, for free. And save some water in the process, and plant plants that how the relationship of plants can work together better. So you're really bringing out the strength of each plant for the most produce possible. That's permaculture tomorrow night, 6:30 to 9. And then on Tuesday, the 30th, come for the Wellness Journey Support Group at 6:30 to 8:30. And you can talk to the professionals on hand, ask all your health questions, and start your healing journey for free at the Community Wellness Center this Tuesday. So there's lots happening at the Healthy Home Market. Check it out at healthyhomemkt.com. The new patio's in at the Plaza Midwood store, and it's beautiful and a bargain. You get yourself a smoothie, a custom fresh juice, a beer, a bottle of wine, lunch or dinner from the hot bar, salads, clean cakes, and goodies, and take it all outside for a healthy meal under the umbrellas. The price is right. There's no wait staff to tip. Check it out at healthyhomemkt.com for more details on this and other things, and check out the discounts. Lots to know about at the Healthy Home Market for your wellness. So back to the topic of the hour with our guest, Terry Lemerond, who has an extensive background in nutrition and has really been a national player in the wellness world for many years, including formulator of Enzymatica, one of my favorite enzyme supplements. Terry hosts his own radio show called Terry Talks Nutrition, and he has a thriving health food store in the state of Wisconsin, and that store has been voted best of the Bay. So Terry, I am stoked you're here today. Thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's exciting to be with you.
It's a pleasure. You know, I got to ask you, best of the Bay, is that Green Bay, the home of the great Vince Lombardi?
Yes, absolutely. That's Green Bay, Wisconsin. That's Green Bay Packers, Green Bay cheese, and Green Bay vitamins.
Right. Well, it lives large. I know that this health food store is really a famous store, and I know about it because I love your products, and I'm kind of a health food store junkie. So it's really on the map up there, the things that you've done and created for your community and beyond. You know, Terry, everyone everywhere is talking inflammation, except maybe not enough MDs are talking about it, but the rest of us, and some doctors are, it really is sort of, it seems like it's kind of the rude, uninvited guest to the national table. We're now known as the inflammation nation. I mean, what happened?
Well, in fact, we live a life that is a inflammatory diet, inflammatory lifestyle. We are creating the inflammation within our body by what we do on a daily basis. And we have choices. We can continue to do what we're doing, or we can take some steps to subdue the inflammation. And there are various good products that can actually improve the process of inflammation. Now, but we first have to understand, inflammation is not bad for us. Inflammation is a healing process. If we stub our toe on the bedpost at night without turning the lights on, we get up to do something, go to the bathroom, let the dogs out, or whatever, and we stub our toe on the bedpost, what's going to happen the next morning when you look at your toe?
It'll be swollen.
It'll be swollen, it'll be red, there'll be heat, there'll be pain. That is inflammation. Inflammation goes there to heal the body, to heal that injury, to heal that joint. Or if you slam your finger in the car door, or whatever you might do, any injury, there's going to be an inflammatory process. That's acute inflammation. That's good for us. But chronic inflammation is when we can't turn it off. And why can't we turn it off? Because we're doing things on a daily basis to create inflammation within our body. So it's there because we are sick all the time. We are trying to heal all the time, and we're never healing the process. So inflammation is there to help us heal, and it's called chronic inflammation versus acute inflammation. So chronic inflammation is what causes type 2 diabetes, obesity, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's disease. 80 to 90% of all diseases that are being treated today by drugs is an inflammatory process. Reduce inflammation, reduce oxidative stress, and will reduce 80 to 90% of all of our diseases that are being treated by drugs. And in America, we are 5% of the world's population, but we consume 60% of all the drugs manufactured worldwide. We actually consume 80% of all the drugs that are painkiller drugs that are manufactured worldwide. We're over-medicated for conditions that are being caused by our diet and our lifestyle, which we can change if we want to, and we want to make those choices.
You know, it's really astounding to think about that. When you think about where we were as a country, 30, 40, 50 years ago, it's sort of flipped. It's like yin to yang and yang to yin. It's really changed. And I'm wondering, you talk about inflammation, and it is like sort of the heat and the fire in the body. But what does it look like under the skin? What's going on in the cells?
Well, actually, they're swollen. They're engorged with fluid. They're hot. There's heat there because you can feel it, warmth on the skin. You've got pain radiating from those tissues. So it's an inflammatory process. And when you were saying like 40, 50, 60 years ago, what flipped? What flipped was our diet. Our diet has changed more in the last 50 years, 60 years, than it did in the previous 3 million years of mankind. So what flipped? They said fats were bad for us. There was no studies, there was no conclusive evidence ever, that fats were bad for us. Saturated fats, butter, cream, eggs, they are wonderful fats for us.
Well, that's so bizarre. How did that get started?
It started in the 1950s by a physician who was very famous. His name was Dr. Ansel Keys. He was at the University of Minnesota, and he did an observational study, not a clinical study, not any other kind of studies that would prove it conclusively. He observed a number of countries around the world. Out of 22, he chose 6. Those 6 countries ate less fats. If he looked at 6 more countries out of those 22, he found they eat more fats than less fats. It was just an observation of six countries. And he made the statement, fats are bad for us, and I believe fats cause heart disease. Everybody jumped on the bandwagon because he was very prestigious. He was a very well-known doctor at the time. And there was never any studies to prove that. So when everybody stopped eating fats, they went on the low fat, no fat, minimum fats, 2%, whatever.
Oh, yeah. It infiltrated the table.
So what's left? Carbohydrates. So everybody jumped on the wagon of carbohydrates. And what happens today? The American diet is 70% carbohydrates and sugar. Out of that 70% is 55% grains. Grains turn into sugar faster than sugar does itself.
That's bizarre.
So
that's wild.
We're eating everything is grains: pasta, bread, crackers, cookies, candies, cakes, pies. All the foods we eat. Pizza is the number 1 dinner food in America.
Yeah, I've heard.
All these carbohydrates turn into sugar, and then turn into fat because we can't burn up all those carbohydrates. So it's stored in our cells as fat. Now, all of our fat cells is like a small match that ignites and causes inflammation. So the more weight we carry over our normal weight level, more obese we are, the more inflammation we are causing, the more damage we're causing to our joints, not only by just the weight that's bearing on those joints, but the inflammation that is caused by that obesity and the fat cells. So carbohydrates, sugar, and then we switched from saturated fats, which are really good for us, lard, butter, cream, eggs, all good for us. We switched to polyunsaturated fats, which are fragile oils because they are polyunsaturated, so they are many, many times unsaturated, so they turn rancid very easily. They're high in omega-6 fatty acids, and that's pro-inflammatory. So soybean oil, corn oil, we never consumed those oils before the 1950s. They were made up because saturated fats were bad for us, they said. So we switched to corn oil and soybean oil because the farmers could really sell all these oils then.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because it can't just be that this one doctor out of Minnesota said this thing and everybody flipped over. There's got to be an economic basis.
Oh,
to
always.
it.
All the manufacturers jumped on the bandwagon. Let's make low-fat foods. Let's change the fats that Americans are eating, and let's find some cheap oils that we can throw into our foods. Soybean oil is for cows. Corn is for cows. We don't, Hormel did a really interesting study. They wanted to fatten pigs, so they fed them a lot of protein and fat to get them fat. And they leaned out. They lost weight. So what happened? What do they feed cows now to get fat? What do they feed pigs to get fat? Starch, corn. So they get fat on carbohydrates. That's what Americans are doing today, getting fat on carbohydrates, and that causes inflammation.
That is so fascinating and kind of scary and sad.
But we can change it.
Yes, we can. And I'm so glad you're here to talk about it today, because this is really, this is where it starts, folks. You can really make the difference by what you put into your mouth. So stay with us. We're here with Terry Lemerond of Terry Naturally and EuroPharma and all kinds of other feathers in his cap and really incredible life that he has given to the health food industry and to people's health. So you're hearing it right here on Streets 103.3, Charlotte's new hip-hop station.
It's Saturday. You got up and ran a mile, then you worked in the garden, put in 3 beds of tomatoes and peppers. Tonight you'll be dancing. Tomorrow, maybe tennis. You feel great. No sign of pain. How did you do it? You took Curamin, the all-natural pain reliever. You found Curamin at your local health food store. Curamin's ingredients are safe and effective, so you can take it without worrying about unhealthy side effects. And Curamin by Terry Naturally is guaranteed to relieve your pain or your money back. You had pain, you took Curamin, and your pain's gone. Now you garden, play sports, and enjoy life pain-free. Would you like your days to be pain-free? Just ask for the Terry Naturally brand Curamin at your favorite health food store. Curamin. Curamin does not interfere with stomach, liver, or kidney function. It's intended for the relief of occasional muscle pain due to exercise or overuse. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA, and Curamin is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. Every day can be a pain-free day. Look for Curamin at your health food store. Stop pain now with Curamin.
Are you living your dream? Lots of us aren't, because we don't have a plan. All our dreams need the right plan. At the Charlotte Health Center, get a customized plan to lay down your pain and fatigue and get on your game. Feel the love and skill of Dr. Matt McAleese, chiropractor and founder of the Charlotte Health Center. Align your spine with Dr. Matt. He's got 5 essentials for a victorious life. Experience the energy, the clarity, and creativity of your body and brain when the power's on. The Charlotte Health Center is the largest private and pediatric chiropractic clinic in the QC. Dr. Matt has helped Olympians, celebrities, moms, and kids with exceptional care and concern. Call 704-780-0166. That's 704-780-0166 or charlottehealthcenter.com. Come on, live your dreams.
Novocaine, baby, Novocaine, baby.
Hey, we're back. back. You're listening to the Healthy Home Hour, sponsored by the Healthy Home Market. I'm Holly Adams. I'm here with Terry Lemerond of Terry Naturally and EuroPharma. We've been talking inflammation and what really causes it. And Terry was sharing with us about sugar and carbohydrates. And you mentioned, too, the oils, that the oils have changed so much. And then also, I guess, stress would add to inflammation, wouldn't it?
Stress is a big component of starting inflammation in our body. So we have carbohydrates, we have sugar. We can change that. We can change the fats that we're consuming and use better fats. Lard is better for us than those artificial shortenings, those solid shortenings. Now the FDA has approved to have them banned within the next 3 years. Trans fatty acids are banned now. Manufacturers have to change all their productions within the next 3 years. But they knew that 50 years ago.
I tell you.
I come from Wisconsin, which is the dairy state.
Yes.
And my mother and father used to have to go by night. They would take the car, go across the border into Michigan and buy margarine because it was cheaper than butter. But it was illegal to bring margarine back into the state, so they would put it in the trunk and cover it with a blanket to try to get into the state. But margarine is synthetic. It's artificial. It's hydrogenated. It has huge quantities of trans fatty acids, and that damages the heart, causes heart disease and heart attacks.
What does that mean, trans fatty acids?
It's a special kind of fat that is artificially manufactured, and also can be found naturally. It's another essential fatty, not essential, but it's another fatty acid, and it's found in other components. It's found in meat. It's found some other things, but in very, very small quantities. But even so, when you get your French fries at a fast food restaurant, and even when they use good oil, after the high heat damages the oil, it turns into trans fatty acids. You don't want the trans fatty acids. In fact, Mary Ng, who is a world authority on oils. She's passed away, but she's the one who discovered the trans fatty acid damages. And she was blacklisted by the manufacturing companies that said, if you ever go public with this information that trans fatty acids cause heart disease, you'll never get another grant in your institution to do studies. She said, I don't care. I'm going public with this. And she went public with it over a long process. Eventually, the FDA said, they're bad for us. They're dangerous. We have to ban them. Now, this is after 50 years of knowing that trans fatty acids are bad for us.
That is just staggering to think about. It's hard to wrap your brain around that
Yes,
concept.
absolutely.
It
Yes.
really is crazy. And just so cruel, basically.
It is. We're eating the wrong kinds of fats in America. We should be going to the natural fats. Avocado oil is great for cooking. Coconut oil is excellent. Of course, olive oil is, I think it's a medicine. I try to take a couple, 3-4 tablespoons a day off the spoon because to me that is medicine. And they found that it reduces heart disease by at least 30%.
So when you're saying trans fats and you're saying even the good oil, once you heat it to the level that they do, the trans fats, it turns into a trans fat.
They form the trans fatty acids from the heat.
So basically anything really fried.
Yeah, absolutely. No French fries, no chicken. Get rid of all the fried foods.
Mm-hmm. So you're not cooking anything in hot oil.
Bake it, broil it, and if you do fry it, slow fry and sautéed, or with good oils that have good smoke points. Avocado has a high smoke point. That means it doesn't turn into trans fatty acids.
Mm-hmm. And coconut oil too.
Coconut as well, yes.
Yeah.
Good oil.
So, at the Healthy Home Markets, we have many Terry Naturally products, the things that you've created, and Curamin being one of them, and Curamed is on our shelves, and lots of customers come in to try to cope with this inflammation issue. And I think some people know that it's about inflammation, and some people don't. They just know it works. And people come in and talk about, wow, my skin has improved and my pain has decreased. I mean, I hear a lot of hallelujahs over there, in the vitamin departments. Let's start out with the basics of what is in these two products. What's the secret ingredient?
Curcumin. And curcumin is a natural substance that's extracted out of the root of turmeric or turmeric. Now, there's a big difference. I know some people try turmeric or turmeric. But in India, it works for the Indian citizens because that's where all the turmeric grows. 95% of all the turmeric grows in India. Other countries to a certain degree. But India is the hotbed for growth of turmeric. Turmeric is a spice. I use it in everything. I put it in soups, I put it on my eggs, I put it in my whatever, stews or whatever. I love the taste of it. But from a medicinal standpoint, it doesn't have the power because it only is about 2 to 4% of the root. So in order for it to have a strength that would be medicinally beneficial, they extract out the curcumin out of the root and they concentrate it up to a 95%. At a 95%, it has a medicinal quality based on research at institutions all over the world. But here in the United States, at Baylor University in Dallas, Texas, MD Anderson Cancer Treatment Center in Houston, Texas, they found out it is the most powerful substance for anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, pain-relieving, treatment of type 2 diabetes, treatment of osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, Alzheimer's disease. You can go on and on because all these diseases are caused by inflammation. Now you're starting to see ads on TV for a drug called Humira.
Yes, I just saw that this morning.
I saw it at the same time. We were watching the same news, yes. Humira is a very, very toxic, potent drug that was only by prescription. And they were not even advertising it for some time because it was only used for very, very severe rheumatoid arthritis and other inflammation. Now they have gone more mainstream because inflammation is such a hot topic today. They want to make sure their drug is in the hot news. Curcumin is more powerful than Humira and more powerful than 13 other drugs along with Humira. The research is unbelievable what curcumin can do today. In fact, if I could advise people listening that if you only take one thing the rest of your life, take curcumin, because it'll protect your liver, it'll protect your immune system, it'll protect your brain against inflammation and Alzheimer's disease, it'll protect you from type 2 diabetes, it'll protect your body from a variety of conditions. In fact, Dr. Ajay Goyal is one of the premier researchers in curcumin in the world. He's been doing this for 20 years at a time when doctors laughed at him. And they didn't think what he was doing was nonsense. But he worked in the laboratory, and he knew he was onto something because he saw what was going on in India. In India, they have 90% less breast cancer than we do here in the Western world, 90% less prostate cancer. They don't even have a word in their vocabulary for Alzheimer's disease. And when they perform an autopsy on an Indian citizen, the brain is actually stained orange. They eat that much. It really has, it penetrates their whole body. Their body is just loaded with curcumin because they eat it every day, every meal. It's sacred to them. Dr. Goyal points out that in his cancer research, he's done cancer research on colon cancer, cancer of the cervix, and the results are quite dramatic. They're launching 2 more really big studies now on colon cancer and cancer of the cervix. But he shows in his studies that there is a drug manufactured for every kind of cancer. If there's 14 different kind of cancers, there's 14 different drugs out there. They have a cocktail of drugs to treat cancer. He shows how curcumin treats every form of cancer.
So what is curcumin doing? What's the action? What's happening in the body when you take curcumin?
It's reducing the inflammation and oxidative stress. The biggest things, because those 2 conditions cause almost every ailment, every disease that plagues you and I, men and women.
So it actually goes into the cell and cools the cell down.
Reduces the inflammation. If you take a sharp instrument and you scratch your forearm, you scratch your skin over and over and over and over again, causing irritation, and you don't stop. And then you got bleeding, and then you damage the cells, then it could form into cancer. Irritation. Smoking. Smoking causes cancer. It doesn't cause cancer in everybody who smokes, but it causes cancer. We know that. Why? Because of the irritation of the chemicals. There's 4,000 chemicals in tobacco. They have all this damage from the carbon, from the smoke, from the chemicals, from the irritation, how the lungs turn from a nice pink color to black, and then pretty soon we have cancer. We know what causes cancer. In fact, they're out there looking for funds for cancer research. 90% of all the cancer we can control. The cure for cancer is prevention. 30% of all the cancer in the world is caused by tobacco. 35% of all the cancer is caused by faulty diet or a diet that is not complete in vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. And the other 30% is from pesticides and chemicals and all the sprays and all the stuff, the Agent Orange and all these things that are in our environment that we can't control. But we can control 65% of the cancers by just changing some things in our lifestyle.
It's fascinating. I really am very encouraged by the things that you're saying today. And curcumin just sounds, I hate to say it, the word, but it really almost sounds like a miracle.
It is a miracle. In fact, Dr. Goyle and Dr. Arguel at MD Anderson, both, and these are professionals, and they both said it's a miracle. They've never seen anything work so effectively. What it does, it actually in cancer research, they have a cancer cell. They have a petri dish of cancer cells. Mm-hmm. Now it's pretty easy to get results in a laboratory because whatever you're testing is in direct contact with those cells, so there's no interference. When we take something orally or by injection, it has to go through multiple steps of it being into the bloodstream.
Right.
So here you have direct contact, but you add curcumin to a dish of cancer cells, and they start exploding. They go into a suicidal mode, and they die off, and they'll kill all those cancer cells within 24 hours. They've done studies with beagles, dogs, that have a similar dementia as humans. They have an Alzheimer's disease model of these dogs. And it's caused by a beta-amyloid plaque and tau protein that forms in the brain between the cells that prevents our cells from communicating. It's like putting mortar between the tile.
Right.
And this mortar that's in there that blocks our ability to communicate. In animal studies, they have shown that it reduces that beta-amyloid plaque when adding curcumin to the dog's diet. 30% of that beta-amyloid plaque is dissolved in 7 days.
That is so exciting.
The result on curcumin is explosive. You can do it. There were 2 studies that were just ended with curcumin that it was more effective than placebo for depression, more effective than Prozac for depression. Within 6 weeks.
Within 6 weeks?
Within 6 weeks.
Oh, that's a huge topic right there. We're going to get right back into that. As soon as we come back, we got to take a short break. Stay with us, folks. We're talking about a miracle here, curcumin, that really can, it just can do so much for the inflammation that is running rampant throughout our country. Stay with us. You're listening to Streets 103.3.
It's Saturday. You got up and ran a mile, then you worked in the garden, put in 3 beds of tomatoes and peppers. Tonight you'll be dancing. Tomorrow, maybe tennis. You feel great. No sign of pain. How did you do it? You took Curamin, the all-natural pain reliever. You found Curamin at your local health food store. Curamin's ingredients are safe and effective, so you can take it without worrying about unhealthy side effects. And Curamin by Terry Naturally is guaranteed to relieve your pain or your money back. You had pain, you took Curamin, and your pain's gone. Now you garden, play sports, and enjoy life pain-free. Would you like your days to be pain-free? Just ask for the Terry Naturally brand Curamin at your favorite health food store. Curamin. Curamin does not interfere with stomach, liver, or kidney function. It's intended for the relief of occasional muscle pain due to exercise or overuse. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA, and Curamin is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. Every day can be a pain-free day. Look for Curamin at your health food store. Stop pain now with Curamin.
Are you living your dream? Lots of us aren't, because we don't have a plan. All our dreams need the right plan. At the Charlotte Health Center, get a customized plan to lay down your pain and fatigue and get on your game. Feel the love and skill of Dr. Matt McAleese, chiropractor and founder of the Charlotte Health Center. Align your spine with Dr. Matt. He's got 5 essentials for a victorious life. Experience the energy, the clarity, and creativity of your body and brain when the power's on. The Charlotte Health Center is the largest private and pediatric chiropractic clinic in the QC. Dr. Matt has helped Olympians, celebrities, moms, and kids with exceptional care and concern. Call 704-780-0166. That's 704-780-0166 or charlottehealthcenter.com. Come on, live your dreams.
Novocaine, baby, baby. Novocaine, baby.
Hey, we're back. You're listening to the Healthy Home Hour, sponsored by the Healthy Home Market. I'm Holly Adams, and as you know, we're here with Terry Lemerond of Terry Naturally, talking about the miracle of curcumin. And before the break, Terry, you talked about how it actually has been shown statistically in clinical studies to reduce depression within 6 weeks.
Yes. In fact, there was a study that was done with curcumin, 500 milligrams twice a day. It'll be a very special form of curcumin. In the study, they used a special form called BCM95. Curcumin, this is B like boy, C like Charlie, M like Mary, BCM95. And it was used at 500 milligrams twice a day against Prozac. And the results were exactly the same. The results for lowering depression, reducing depression, alleviating the symptoms of depression was as effective with curcumin BCM95 as Prozac within a 6-week period. And this was even effective on children as young as 15 years of age.
And you said earlier, too, that it also has a terrific impact, to great effect on Alzheimer's and dementia.
Yes, it does. The research, in fact, there's a big research study going on right now in Australia, but it's not completed yet. But the results seem to be on a very positive mode. It also, yes, for Alzheimer's disease, because it's reducing inflammation and it raises serotonin levels, it has a tremendous effect. They also did a study in Australia with BCM95 curcumin against a placebo in depression, and that was highly effective as well. When they look at a placebo, placebos have an effect, but you want to have your active ingredient be more significantly effective than the placebo, and this happened in the study with BCM95 curcumin against the placebo. So very, very good results. And there are no side effects. That's the big thing, too, because even in studies with osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis against drugs, in osteoarthritis, a study was done with BCM95 curcumin against Celebrex. And it was more effective than Celebrex. In the long term, they could walk farther, they could walk with less pain, they were more effective, much more effective than Celebrex. And Celebrex is the number one drug advertised in America and prescribed in America for osteoarthritis. So a combination of curcumin and boswellia, another Indian herb, was combined together to prove that it was more effective than Celebrex in a rheumatoid arthritis study against Voltaren, which is another drug. It's diclofenac sodium, which is the generic name for Voltaren. The study came out almost exactly the same. The curcumin, 2 capsules a daily, 500 milligrams daily, against the Voltaren, almost exactly the same results. But the results are even better at the end because there were dropouts in the study where they used the drug because patients could not tolerate the drug.
Sure.
So some of the patients dropped out of the study. Some patients had side effects. There's no side effects with curcumin. It's very, very safe. You can take it with medication. You can take it with other kind of drugs. It doesn't thin the blood. It doesn't cause liver damage. It doesn't cause liver toxicity. And here's 2 really, really good, important studies that just came out last year. Dr. Goyle wanted to prove the effectiveness of curcumin BCM95 and also boswellia. We did 2 studies. One was with curcumin against 5-FU, which is the cancer drug.
Yes, that's a heavy-duty drug.
Ooh, it's a heavy-duty drug. Very, very toxic. And you have to watch the patient very carefully if they're on 5-FU because they could actually die from the drug rather than from cancer. So they have to monitor very closely. And in some cases, they have to take them off the drug because it's toxic. Or otherwise, the cancer cells, like bacteria, they want to survive. So they build a resistance to the drug. And they build chemo-resistant effects against the drugs. So Dr. Goyle, in his research, he showed that when you give curcumin BCM95, and in another study he did curcumin and boswellia together against the 5-FU, they found that the 5-FU could become more effective at a lesser dosage, less toxic to the patient. And so we wanted to prove, because doctors who treat cancer, the oncologists, they're not ever going to give up chemotherapy and radiation because that is the model of today. Maybe sometime later in the future that could change, but right now they're not going to deviate from using chemotherapy and radiation and surgery.
No, and it's such a fearful place to be in for patients and doctors, so they're using what they think works.
Yes, they're going to follow the AMA protocol. But Dr. Goyle wanted to prove you can also give them curcumin and give them a better quality of life with less toxicity and more effectiveness of the drug, that it will not interfere with the drug. Because he gets a lot of calls from doctors saying, my patient's taking curcumin, what happens to them? Am I going to have a problem with this? Is it going to interfere with the drugs? So he said, I wanted to prove that you can give curcumin to cancer patients with more beneficial results than just the chemotherapy. And he has oncologists that have seen the results of what he has done, and the oncologists won't give up their normal therapy, but they send patients to him to get his recommendations for curcumin. And he said, I just had a patient sent to me by the oncologist at Baylor University, at the hospital, at the cancer hospital, and the gentleman had stage 4 lung cancer. He had 4 to 6 months to live. The doctors gave up hope. There's nothing we can do to reverse it. He just has a few months to live. Dr. Goyle put him on 2 capsules a day of curcumin BCM95, 500 milligrams each capsule, so 1,000 milligrams a day. Within 6 weeks, his stage 4 cancer was stage 1. It dropped. It reversed. It gives me chills.
I know. I've got chills right now.
Yeah, because it reversed his cancer so much. Now he has hope. Now there's a good chance that he's going to survive this, and he's going to stay on the medication. He's going to work with his doctor, the oncologist. The results are, this is what Dr. Goyle's whole life is dedicated to, how I can help the doctors understand what some of these natural substances can also help benefit, even though you're taking chemotherapy. This is going to be a phenomenal response to taking a natural supplement.
So it's a really integrative approach then. You
Yes.
can really do both, and the curcumin can support.
Right.
So, some professionals talk about how sugar really contributes to cancer, and that pathogens and viruses, bacteria, fungus can actually contribute to cancer. What do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. If I had cancer, the first thing I would do is first of all, I do follow a very, very strict carbohydrate-free diet. My diet is mostly good, moderate amounts of proteins and very high and very healthy fats. So I stay away from all sugars, all desserts, all carbohydrates, and I think all cancer patients should as well. There's a really, really good website to go to. It's called Ketogenic Diet. Ketogenic. It's KETOGENIC, Ketogenic Diet Resources.com. There they have a cancer diet. There they have regular diets for ketogenic people, because it stabilizes many, many diseases. When you get rid of the carbohydrates, like Parkinson's disease, MS, ALS, cancer, it'll stabilize these. Doctors find that within 30 days, with people with Parkinson's, their tremors are stabilized. They're not having difficulties anymore. MS, the same thing. Their walking becomes more steady. All these things change because they get rid of the carbohydrates, because carbohydrates and sugar feed the cells, the cancer cells and the abnormal cells. It's like your gas feeds your car. It feeds the engine to run. Well, sugar feeds the cancer cells to spread and grow. So you cut down all the sugars and carbohydrates, and the ketogenic diet is a diet that stabilizes epilepsy, seizures, convulsions, MS, Parkinson's, brain disorders, neurological disorders, cancer. So I would choose a good ketogenic diet, get rid of the sugars, then use curcumin, use boswellia, use grapeseed extract. These are all very powerful antioxidants and powerful anti-inflammatories.
So the ketogenic diet, is it similar to what a lot of people are talking about and practicing, the paleo diet?
It's more strict than the paleo diet. It's more fats. It's about 10 to 20, 30% proteins, and about 65 to 70% of fats, and about 20 grams to 40 grams of carbohydrates a day. So it's very, very low. You should get your carbohydrates from berries, from vegetables.
Okay.
And occasionally a piece of fruit. But mostly it should be lots of vegetables, good proteins, and lots of fats. Butter liberally, coconut oil, olive oil, because you want to form ketones. Ketones will supercharge your brain, supercharge your body, and you'll feel better. You'll have more energy. You'll feel fantastic. Sugar poisons the body. Sugar poisons the brain, and sugar poisons every other part of the body we have.
Well, thank you for driving that home, because it is really important, and it seems to be the basis of everything.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, stay with us, folks, because there's lots more to talk about here today. We're talking about curcumin and curamin and curamed and lots of other incredible supplements we're going to get into when we come right back on the Healthy Home Hour, sponsored by Your Healthy Home Market.
It's Saturday. You got up and ran a mile, then you worked in the garden. Put in 3 beds of tomatoes and peppers. Tonight you'll be dancing. Tomorrow, maybe tennis. You feel great. No sign of pain. How did you do it? You took Curamin, the all-natural pain reliever. You found Curamin at your local health food store. Curamin's ingredients are safe and effective, so you can take it without worrying about unhealthy side effects. And Curamin by Terry Naturally is guaranteed to relieve your pain or your money back. You had pain? You took Curamin, and your pain's gone. Now you garden, play sports, and enjoy life pain-free. Would you like your days to be pain-free? Just ask for the Terry Naturally brand Curamin at your favorite health food store. Curamin. Curamin does not interfere with stomach, liver, or kidney function. It's intended for the relief of occasional muscle pain due to exercise or overuse. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA, and Curamin is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. Every day can be a pain-free day. Look for Curamin at your health food store. Stop pain now with Curamin.
Are you living your dream? Lots of us aren't, because we don't have a plan. All our dreams need the right plan. At the Charlotte Health Center, get a customized plan to lay down your pain and fatigue and get on your game. Feel the love and skill of Dr. Matt McAleese, chiropractor and founder of the Charlotte Health Center. Align your spine with Dr. Matt. He's got 5 essentials for a victorious life. Experience the energy, the clarity, and creativity of your body and brain when the power's on. The Charlotte Health Center is the largest private and pediatric chiropractic clinic in the QC. Dr. Matt has helped Olympians, celebrities, moms, and kids with exceptional care and concern. Call 704-780-0166. That's 704-780-0166 or charlottehealthcenter.com. Come on, live your dreams.
Novocaine, baby, baby. Novocaine, baby.
Welcome back. Glad you're here today on the Healthy Home Hour. I'm Holly Adams, and we're here with Terry Lemerond of Terry Naturally. We've been talking about curcumin and the incredible, miraculous effect it has on the body. It sounds like it detoxes, it cleans out and scavenges, it regenerates the liver, it helps with every disease you can possibly think of that has its basis in inflammation, which is every disease, pretty much.
In fact, any autoimmune disease like rheumatoid arthritis, like lupus, like psoriasis, it cleans them all up. It tremendously, where people were trying to take drugs for that, like Humira for psoriasis, curcumin does better than Humira for psoriasis.
That's incredible. I want to get back to that, but first I want to ask you, it really is quite an accolade that you have, that curcumin has won Best of Supplements by Better Nutrition Magazine for 5 years in a row in the pain and inflammation category. And curcumin also won for Best Pain Relieving Product by the Healthy Living People's Choice Awards. I mean, can all folks take it? And because I ask, because, in our industry, there's so many vegetarians and vegans. Can they take it too?
Yeah, of course. Curamin is a product to relieve pain. It's different than curcumin. Curamin is Curamin. Curamin is a combination of this very famous form of nattokinase, which is an enzyme from natto, fermented soybean, which is good because it's a fermented kind.
Like miso soup.
Yes, or tempeh or those, or yeah. Also, it has DLPA in it. These 4 ingredients target every mechanism in the body that is involved with the pain system, the pain mechanism. So it reduces pain. And because when this product came out, we have now won 7 years of awards, 3 awards every year. So we've won 23 awards for this pain-relieving product.
Wow. As
the most innovative pain-relieving product, the most natural pain-relieving product, the most safe product on the market. There's no product in America, in the health food industry, that has won this many awards for one product. And for that many awards yearly, that's 3 awards per year. So it's an amazing product to reduce pain. We've had some people tell us that they no longer get migraine headaches. They no longer get back pain. They no longer get pain of their joints. And fibromyalgia, you name it, and they have been able to get rid of every kind of pain imaginable because this is a natural way to relieve pain. It targets every mechanism. It affects the COX-2 enzyme, the 5-LUX enzyme, the endorphins in the brain, the circulation of the injured area. I mean, it's an all-in-one pain-relieving product. And sometimes it can work in a matter of a few minutes to a few days to a few weeks, depending on how long the person has a pain and how chronic it is and how much damage there may have been done previously before they started using the product.
So with Curamin, you're really those 4 products that are, or those 4 ingredients that are in Curamin, they sort of work synergistically to tackle and approach every aspect of pain.
Yes, it's like a family of nutrients that synergistically work together to work on the various mechanisms, and that's why they work more effectively than just trying to use. There's a lot of drugs that are on the market that are COX-2 inhibitors. That means they prevent the COX-2 from being over elevated. But they poison the enzyme. They don't know how to regulate it. They don't know how to down regulate it. They don't know how to harmoniously make it work. Years ago, Vioxx came out. Vioxx was going to be the end of arthritis, the end of pain.
I remember.
But it killed everybody. So it did get rid of arthritis in one way. But what it did was it stopped the enzyme from working completely. And then they had blood clots, they had strokes, they had heart attacks and death. And it was so many deaths that the FDA had to take it off the market. And because it's too strong. Well, natural products are just balancing the enzymes in the body, so they harmoniously work together to reduce pain over a period of time. It's an amazing product. It's all over the world today.
It's very exciting. It's so hopeful for people because pain is debilitating. It's depressing. It gets in the way. It completely changes somebody's experience of life. And not only for that person who's in pain, but all the people that love that person. They have to cope with the person being in pain and slowed down and being depressed.
Right.
And it's tough on everybody.
And then, Holly, you have to keep in mind, too, what is available out in the market to relieve pain, like Tylenol. Tylenol kills 16,000 people every year. It's the number one cause. Now, this is something really amazing. We know there's street drugs on the streets, and we are concerned of our young people using street drugs. But Tylenol is the number one cause of liver failure in the United States. There are more liver transplants due to the fact of people using Tylenol, and they have baby Tylenol, they have liquid Tylenol, and all these things are dangerous. They are so dangerous that the FDA now requires them to put a black box on their label, which means this is the most serious ban of the product before they are taken off the market, putting a black box on the label because of the warnings. There are no warnings with curcumin. It's safe. It's a food. It's been used for 5,000 years in Asia and India, so it's an amazing product, and I think people are going to start switching because they see the light switches on. I can get rid of my pain. I don't have to worry about side effects. Even for that 1 or 2% of people that won't get rid of their pain, they don't have to worry about any side effects.
Right. Yeah.
And drugs don't work either, but there's side effects.
Mm-hmm. There's Curamin just has so many. It really seems to target so much of what you're talking about. It's extraordinary. As we said earlier, it's kind of miraculous, really.
It is, absolutely.
And then there's Curamed, which is a little bit different, but similar. It has curcumin in it, right?
It has the curcumin in it, yes, but it doesn't have those other 3 elements in it because it's different. It is for healthy inflammation response.
So it's a sort of an overall approach to general inflammation.
Yes.
With Curamed.
Yes.
And so with Curamed, have you got, I'm sure you must have testimonials of people talking about, what's happened with their inflammation.
Oh my gosh, it's in a period of time, it can be a few days to a few weeks. And if they also encourage the way they live by getting rid of the carbohydrates and sugar and get rid of the vegetable oils and switching to better quality oils, because in itself, olive oil is an anti-inflammatory compound. So by switching to healthier foods, it also can help reduce inflammation and won't create inflammation. But if we stick to the American diet, which is junk foods and 70% carbohydrates, we are creating fire within us. We are creating that inflammation within us on a daily basis.
What about, you bring up olive oil, and I want to ask you because you hear all the time people are saying, oh, don't cook with olive oil, and, you really should go to coconut oil, or you mentioned avocado oil earlier. But it seems to me that, we've been in the Mediterranean, they've been cooking and using olive oil for centuries.
Yes.
Is there a problem with cooking with olive oil?
You don't want to use high heat. You want to make sure that your temperature is low when you use olive oil. And first of all, you don't want to destroy it. Because it's a good quality oil. But use the best you can, because if you're going to fry something in it or you're going to cook something in olive oil, it's going to absorb that oil anyway. So you might as well absorb good oil than say, well, I'm going to use a cheap oil. Well, you're eating a cheap oil then, so you don't want to do that either. But you don't want it to get to a point where you see smoke. You want to keep that down to a lower level. But coconut oil can actually withstand more heat. Avocado oil is the best. It can go up to almost 400 degrees before it starts to smoke. And that means it's very, very stable under heat conditions. Also, sesame seed oil, because both sesame seed oil, coconut oil, and olive oil, you can leave them on your countertop for up to 18 months to 2 years, and it'll not turn rancid. You don't need refrigeration because they have such high contents of vitamin E and other antioxidant compounds that they'll stay stable. They're not fragile. Corn oil and soybean oil, they'll go rancid in 6 weeks. Because they're not stable anymore. They refined them and processed them, so there's nothing left in them to act as antioxidants.
Right, to sustain and support the
keep
oil
it stable.
itself. What about, so many people talk about digestive problems. The country, between acid reflux and leaky gut syndrome, and, they say that a lot of the various psychological issues, even autism, has some roots in leaky gut and intestinal problems. What about curcumin for the gut?
Oh yeah, very healing. Oh gosh, even for kidneys or bladder, I don't think we could find a thing that it doesn't heal something. It's even for the intestinal tract, because a lot of that is just indigestion. It's just a lot of inflammation, and because what do they eat? They eat carbohydrates, they eat starch, they eat grains, they eat potatoes. And how do we make alcohol? How do we make wine? We do it with sugar and starch and potatoes. So it ferments in the intestinal tract, causes the acids of fermentation, not harmful acids. Not good acids, but harmful acids. We need acids in our stomach. People that go on Nexium, Prilosec. Oh yeah, they're causing so much damage you can't believe it, because these cut out all the acids our body makes, and we need to make acid. Hydrochloric acid is a digestive enzyme that we need in our stomach to digest proteins, calcium, iron, and vitamin B12. And if we take something like Nexium or Prilosec, we become malnourished. Our bones will start to break because we'll have osteoporosis, because it takes away all of our ability to break down calcium, iron, vitamin B12, and proteins. So we are creating malnutrition. It's a crazy thing we do, because all you have to do is get on a good enzyme, and maybe something like D-limonene, which is the oil from citrus fruits, and sea buckthorn oil, or a DGL, which is deglycerinated licorice extract, and that will heal the stomach lining, heal ulcers. You can make a tremendous benefit. No one should be on. In fact, I've had people. You're only supposed to take Nexium and Prilosec temporarily, because you're not supposed to use it full time. But if you're not going to make any changes, it's never going to be temporary, because you're going to have to be on it the rest of your life. I've run into people. One lady, 14 years she's been on it, and she was a wreck.
Yeah,
and
I know somebody just like that too.
Put her on a supplement of D-limonene and sea buckthorn oil, and in 14 days she's off all of her drugs.
That's
her doctor
exciting.
says, "What did you do?"
They always say that.
Yeah.
What about, diabetes is such a huge issue, and it's exploding in the U.S. It's very serious in the Black community. How does Dairy Naturally, how do you work with that? What do you think about diabetes? Is it possible with curcumin? Can you shift it?
Absolutely. Fantastic studies on curcumin for type 2 diabetes, for blood sugar levels. Absolutely. Also, there are 2 other herbs that are very, very effective, more effective than medication, than metformin or other types of medication. Which is actually purslane, which is commonly known as a weed. We probably dig it out of the lawn because we hate it, but it actually is a good vegetable. Usually all weeds are are just weeds until they're discovered for something good. Then they become an herb.
Right.
So purslane is excellent for that, as well as mulberry leaf extract. Those two herbs taken together can actually be more effective than medication. But look, it comes down to changing the diet. Get rid of the grains. Get rid of wheat in particular.
Right.
Wheat is no longer a wheat that my grandfather ate or my great-grandfather ate. It has been changed to increase the yield of the grain. So it's been genetically modified, genetically engineered. And what it does, it just makes us fat. Wheat makes us fat. That's all it does.
Well, I'm glad we're talking about that because it's gone through so much, bastardization. I mean,
Bastardization is a good word for
GMOs
it. Yes.
And everything else. It just is not what it used to be, as you say, in your grandfather and my grandfather's time.
Yep.
So, folks, you're listening to Terry Lemerond. This is a great opportunity to find out what you need to know to stay out of the inflammation nation and create your own reality without inflammation in your life. So stay with us. We'll be right back on Streets 1033.
It's Saturday. You got up and ran a mile, then you worked in the garden, put in 3 beds of tomatoes and peppers. Tonight you'll be dancing. Tomorrow, maybe tennis. You feel great. No sign of pain. How did you do it? You took Curamin, the all-natural pain reliever. You found Curamin at your local health food store. Curamin's ingredients are safe and effective, so you can take it without worrying about unhealthy side effects. And Curamin by Terry Naturally is guaranteed to relieve your pain or your money back. You had pain, you took Curamin, and your pain's gone. Now you garden, play sports, and enjoy life pain-free. Would you like your days to be pain-free? Just ask for the Terry Naturally brand Curamin at your favorite health food store. Curamin. Curamin does not interfere with stomach, liver, or kidney function. It's intended for the relief of occasional muscle pain due to exercise or overuse. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA, and Curamin is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. Every day can be a pain-free day. Look for Curamin at your health food store. Stop pain now with Curamin.
Are you living your dream? Lots of us aren't because we don't have a plan. All our dreams need the right plan. At the Charlotte Health Center, get a customized plan to lay down your pain and fatigue and get on your game. Feel the love and skill of Dr. Matt McAleese, chiropractor and founder of the Charlotte Health Center. Align your spine with Dr. Matt. He's got 5 essentials for a victorious life. Experience the energy, the clarity, and creativity of your body and brain when the power's on. The Charlotte Health Center is the largest private and pediatric chiropractic clinic in the QC. Dr. Matt has helped Olympians, celebrities, moms, and kids with exceptional care and concern. Call 704-780-0166. That's 704-780-0166 or charlottehealthcenter.com. Come on, live your dreams.
Novocaine, baby, baby. Novocaine, baby.
Hey, glad you're here. You're listening to the Healthy Home Hour, sponsored by Your Healthy Home Market in and around Charlotte and also up in Davidson. And we're here with Terry Lemerond of Terry Naturally. And Terry, what is your website? How can folks learn more about you and what you're doing?
Okay, well, then you go to terrytalksnutrition.com. There they can listen to my radio show. It's
Great.
live streamed on the website. It's Saturday morning, 8 o'clock in Green Bay, so that would be 9 o'clock for you folks out here in this area. But we have archived all of our shows, so they can listen to our shows till what they say, the cows come home. Also, I write a newsletter every week that goes out on Friday. So if they want to subscribe to the newsletter, just jot their name and email address. We'll send them a copy of my newsletter every Friday. And they can also go into the archive section of the newsletters and also read all the past newsletters as well. And there's lots of good information on science and what products to use for your health and the tip of the week, the scam of the week. There's a lot of good information on my website, terrytalksnutrition.com.
Great. So what about, you've got several products. I mean, your catalog is huge, and there's all kinds of very interesting products in there. Before we go, I want to ask you about Adrenaplex and thyroid care, because that is a big issue for a lot of folks. Their adrenals and their thyroid, and people are hypothyroid, hyperthyroid. We're in adrenal fatigue throughout the country.
Well, if you're under stress and you can't cope with the daily activities and you worry all the time, maybe you even sit down and you cry because you just can't take the stress anymore. You have unfounded fears. You have weak muscle tone. You have a lot of allergies or upper respiratory tract disorders. It's like you're a basket case. You just feel like you're falling apart.
Yeah, you can't cope.
That's because we have adrenal insufficiency. There's no disease. The adrenals aren't in a disease state. It's just that they're overworked and underactive. And so there are nutrients that can improve the adrenal function. And also with the thyroid. Thyroid is a huge epidemic today. Underactive hypothyroidism. It's the number one condition today because last year the number one drug prescribed in America was Synthroid, the synthetic hormone for the thyroid. Folks, our thyroid cannot function without iodine and L-tyrosine. These two nutrients combine together to make thyroxine. And we have no natural source in America, not in our diet, not in our soil, of iodine. So that's why we have an epidemic of hypothyroidism, because we have no source for iodine. And now they found that through research, we need much more iodine than they once thought years ago. So the level of iodine is up to 12.5 milligrams of iodine per day, along with maybe L-tyrosine. But this makes a huge change. In fact, if they want to go to my website, I wrote some very, very good articles on hypothyroidism, iodine, the forgotten mineral, because it's something we just don't talk about. We talk about all the other vitamins. Mostly we talk about, hey, did you have your vitamins today? Never did we say, hey, did you get your minerals today? It's always the emphasis on vitamins and not on minerals. And we need more minerals than vitamins.
Okay.
And vitamins don't work without the minerals. And the thyroid will not work without iodine. And that also affects the breast in women, ovaries and uterus, and prostate in men.
So are we depleted in iodine because we've taken it out of the salt, or people aren't eating as much salt?
Well, here's the problem with salt. Because, yes, people are not eating enough salt, but it evaporates in the salt. After 4 weeks, it's no longer in the salt. And we keep these containers around for months and months and months sometimes. And we don't want to eat that much salt because that's not really salt. That is sodium chloride. That's a mineral. It's a chemical. Really, if you really want to use salt in your diet, and I think everybody should, and even if you have very weak adrenals, we need more sodium. We need more. Sodium is not bad for us. We need 2 to 3 grams a day of sodium. Only we don't want sodium chloride. So I suggest to go down to the health food store and get Celtic sea salt. Sea salt. Mm-hmm. It has 80 to 90 different trace minerals in it. Not enough iodine, so you still want to take extra iodine in a mineral in a formulation, because we do need extra iodine. But ladies who have their hairs falling out, they can't lose weight. Sleep issues, they can't lose weight. Fatigue, exhaustion, tiredness. Mm-hmm. They wake up in the morning, they just can't get out of bed. They have swollen ankles, swollen feet. The outer third of the eyebrows is missing. They have puffy face. They have swollen eyelids. They can't lose that weight, and they're mostly the weight is from the waist down. They have very well padded hips and butts. So they can't get rid of that weight. And the iodine stimulates the thyroid like a thermostat in the home. When you're not comfortable, you adjust the thermostat. Our thyroid is our thermostat for good life and good health.
Wonderful. The information here today, it's just chock-a-block full, this Healthy Home Hour. I thank you so much for being here and sharing your life, your focus for all these years with us today.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm glad to be here with you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. So, folks, Terry Lemerond of Terry Naturally with curcumin in these wonderful products. Check it out. There's a whole huge long list of them. Get into the healthy home market, talk to a vitamin specialist, and get a grip on inflammation and beat the disease process before it gets a grip on you. You can choose wellness. And until next week, I'll see you at the market. Pay it forward and restore yourself by making the healthy choices for you and your family, and enjoy life with the Healthy Home Market. Feel the goodwill and own great health. Check it out at healthyhomemkt.com. That's healthyhomemkt.com for store locations, details, and discounts. Get the best of God's green blue earth at the Healthy Home Market.